The first shove was small, almost casual, but it made the coffee in his chipped mug ripple to the edge. "Move along, old man. This place isn't for you." The uniformed officer didn't even lower his voice. The words carried through the quiet diner, cutting the air sharper than the smell of burnt bacon. Every head turned, then quickly looked away. No one wanted to be involved. No one wanted to be next. In the corner booth, the man they spoke to didn't move. His back was straight, hands folded on the table, eyes fixed on the steam rising from his coffee. His jacket was worn thin, his boots older still, but there was a stillness about him, like the weight of 1,000 storms that had already passed. He had no home, no place to return to when the night came. But once, long ago, he'd worn a uniform too. One with patches earned in places the officers standing over him had only read about in training manuals. His name was Henry Cole. Years before, Henry had walked through deserts where the air shimmered like glass. He'd slept in mud under rain that felt like needles. He'd carried brothers on his back when they could no longer stand, whispering to them that they were going home. Some made it, some didn't. When the war ended, the welcome was quieter than he had imagined. The medals went into a box, the uniform into a trunk, and slowly, the years blurred into long days and cold nights. Now, the diner was his small ritual, a place where he could stretch one coffee over an hour, warm his hands, and remember the world before it forgot him. But today, the world hadn't just forgotten. It had turned on him. The younger officer leaned closer, his badge catching the dull light. "You heard me. Out. We've had complaints." From who? Henry wondered. From the waitress who had served him without a smile. From the man in the next booth pretending to scroll his phone. From the world that had already decided who he was before he even spoke. Still, he stayed silent. One officer grabbed his shoulder. It was firm, not a request. The diner went quieter, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. And then, Henry reached into his pocket. Slowly, calmly, the younger cop tensed, hand moving toward his belt. But what Henry pulled out wasn't a weapon. It was a phone. An old one, screen cracked, edges dented. He tapped one number. Just one. No words when the call connected. Just a name he gave softly, like a password from another world. 10 minutes later, the air in the diner shifted. Outside, black SUVs rolled to the curb. Men and women in suits stepped out, not hurried, but with the quiet authority of people who didn't need to raise their voices to be heard. The lead agent opened the diner door. His eyes swept the room, found Henry, and softened. Almost imperceptibly, "Sir," he said, and the word carried a weight that made every other conversation in the diner stop. "We'll take it from here." The officers who had cornered Henry were silent now. No smirks, no swagger, only the realization, too late, that the man they had pushed around wasn't a nobody. The suit spoke quietly to the diner manager. Then, to the officers. Their voices stayed low, but their faces told the rest. By the time the agents left, the two officers had their badges off and their careers behind them. Henry didn't look at them. He simply stood, adjusted his jacket, and walked to the door. One man in the back, who hadn't looked up all morning, now stood. He gave a small nod, the kind soldiers give each other across a street without a word. Henry returned it. Respect, Henry once told a young recruit, isn't given because of rank. It's given because you've earned it and kept it. In the diner that morning, he earned it again, not by raising his voice, but by standing in the quiet strength that had carried him through every battle before this one. And as the door closed behind him, the only sound was the hum of the coffee pot and the silent shift of shame in the hearts of those who had watched. Stories like Henry's remind us that the strongest people in the room often speak the least, and that one phone call can echo louder than a lifetime of shouting. If you believe respect should never be conditional, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Share this story so more people see it. And if you want more true stories of silent heroes, join us by subscribing.